You are now watching the Stampede, brought to you by the Hive. Game footage may or may not be related.
Welcome to another edition of the Stampede Mobile, where I come bearing gifts of knowledge and opinions, I guess. My name is Buffalo Prime, and I am one of the commentators for the Hive, where we bring you game reviews, let's plays, and so much more. Check us out at www.youtube.com/hiveguys. Today I want to talk to you about my first impression of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which came out a couple of days ago from the date that this video has been published, probably about a week ago. Just kind of first impressions I've had. I do want to make note that I have only played multiplayer so far, which is interesting because when you first sign in to the game and you try to click on multiplayer, the game's like, we strongly recommend that you play story. It's like, no, I'm obviously not going to do that. You guys didn't make this game to be a story-based game. Where does the majority of the money for Call of Duty come from? All right, you got your base sales, okay, like your day one sales and your occasional, new game sales, probably for the next maybe half a year that'll be significant for Activision and for Sledgehammer is when people buy the game new. Right now, it's significant. After half a year, the sales that they probably get from their brand new games is probably diminished at that point, mostly because people buy pre-owned or, the game's kind of just, it's lost its hype. And what's the biggest income that Sledgehammer Games is going to get from Call of Duty? That's DLC for their multiplayer. So don't give me that shit that, you're trying to get people to play Call of Duty for the main story. No, I'm not going to select the main story. I'm going to go right into multiplayer where the good stuff is. That's where you guys spent most of your time. So let's not kid anybody here, okay? So my impression in multiplayer, though, has been pretty positive so far. If you want me to be a stat geek and you want me to kind of back up what I'm saying here, and I don't know, I guess it's based on how you do, depends on how you feel about how I do. I have about a 1.4 kill death ratio. Win-loss is just, that's an interesting thing to have. I know a lot of clan people out there expect their applicants to have at least like a 1.0 win-loss ratio, but it's such an individualistic game when you're paired up with randoms, which are people that you don't know that you're just kind of paired with in a public matchmaking. It's so individual performance based that having a good win-loss is irrelevant. So I sit around, I think, like a 0.6 win-loss ratio, and I play team deathmatch. So if you think about it this way, I got a 1.4 KD playing mostly team deathmatch. I'm contributing to my team's wins, and we're just not winning. So, I think that's an irrelevant stat. But one of the big things that I've noticed with the new Call of Duty, like every Call of Duty, I'll start with a peeve and then I'll go to something I really like. The biggest peeve that I have with Call of Duties is they make the maps so stupidly random. They make no sense. Like if I were to go and you were to put me into one of those maps in real life, I would not know what the hell I'm doing. I wouldn't know where anything is. I'd have no sense of direction. It's just too random. One of the things I noticed that if you want to get from point A to point B, that point A to point B could be going around a building, and there are 5 different ways to do that. Especially with the new exosuits with Advanced Warfare, you can now go over the building, you can go through the building, just regular walking, left side, right side. There's probably a secret tunnel under the building, and then there's a window somewhere that you can bust into. So when you think you are secure in Advanced Warfare, like, hey, I just killed a guy in this building, my teammates around me, it feels pretty good, you're gonna die. That's like the moment you die in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, is when you feel the safest. That's when you're gonna die. So one of the things I really do like, though, is it feels like the weapons are a little bit more balanced, which is something that we always talk about in Call of Duty. We want balanced guns. We want to be able to kill anybody with anything, and they've done that. And, there's pros and cons to that. The biggest pro, though, is that you can really just select a gun that feels good for you, and you're going to do fine. If you look at the previous Call of Duties, especially Black Ops, I'm going to go ahead and pick on Black Ops right now. If you didn't carry the FAMAS, you were not the best player on that field. You can carry any other gun you want, but unless you're carrying that FAMAS, you're not going to kill people at the same rate. That was a heavy gun. That was a heavily favored gun and for the right reasons, Whether that people enjoyed that or not, you really had to use that gun if you wanted to dominate. In Advanced Warfare, it feels like I could go out with pretty much anything and do really well. And that could be because we're still new in the game. We haven't discovered that gun that really gives people an edge. But so far it feels pretty balanced. The exo suit is a great addition. Being able to jump, to be able to thrust forward when you're in the air. The exo abilities like in cloaking and shielding, and things of that nature are, I think, a great addition to the game. And I don't know if you guys realize when you're creating your classes and you're tweaking it around, there's a firing range. So while you're waiting for your next map to load, you just got a bunch of unlocks, you got a new gun you want to try out. You don't have to wait to get into the game to realize you don't like that gun. You can try it out in the firing range, which gives you a bunch of moving targets, tells you how accurate you are, how much power there is. It's a really good thing so far. So I'll wrap this up. Basically, a high-level overview of how I feel about Call of Duty. So far, I think I probably pumped 10 hours into the game, is that the maps are the same stupid, confusing, pointless, makes no sense maps that have always played Call of Duty that you really just can't sink your teeth into unless you study the maps and plan on doing like game battles and stuff like that. So the maps are still stupid confusing. The guns are more balanced than ever. Graphics-wise, it's phenomenal. It's a pretty looking game. Connection issues are always going to play Call of Duty, and I think we have to start trying to accept that. And it's as unacceptable as it is. You're never going to get a perfect match. I've won barred probably 90% of the matches I'm in, and I have pretty phenomenal internet. The firing range is really awesome. The new exosuit's really awesome. Overall, the game experience has been crazy fun so far. Usually most Call of Duties are for the first week, so I look forward to being able to sit down with this game with the Hive and doing a full proper review of it and giving it some time to really grow on me. So thanks again for stopping by and checking out the Stampede Mobile. Check us out next time where we talk about, I don't know, whatever I want. So talk to you later.